All right, public speaking class, you guys are getting ready to head into workshop. And I wanted to go over or review some of the principles of outlining that you are going to look at when you're in workshop. And there seems to have been a little bit of confusion this semester about outlining, and it's understandable because I'm looking at your textbook right now, and you can see they're talking about a main point one right here. And then they've got supporting subpoint 1 and supporting subpoint 2. And these should be A's the way that we teach outlining. So I disagree with this structure, and I'm going to show you an example. So I'm going to click over here to this one. We're going to go ahead and take the zoom up. Let me move this around a little bit here. Let me take the zoom up to like 125. Let's do 150. Okay, so if we look at this outline, and obviously the last thing that you're going to work on is your introduction. This student has an outline. She's been rocking and rolling. It's only was our first soft deadline for my Saturday class, and we have a second soft deadline, then we have a hard deadline. So this student is doing awesome with her time management skills. This is her topic. She's got her introduction, and part of your introduction is your preview of your main points, okay? Now, really all she needs here, she's got her first main point is protecting mental health and emotional health. That's all she needs. She doesn't need this subpoint here. And I would probably get rid of these, all right? And I would get rid of these subpoints because we're not going to tell the audience the entire speech, including the subpoints. We're just going to tell them the main points. So this is one thing you're going to check in your preview. Protects mental and emotional health. And let me see here. I kind of messed up her formatting a little bit. Protecting mental and emotional health. Those match. Improvements in patient safety and work safety. Boom. She's got it there. And then self-care can prevent burnouts in healthcare workers. Okay. So let's take a look at point 3. Boom. Okay. So then what I would probably do is I would take this, I'd go up and I'd number it, and I would probably unbold this. All right. So now it's all consistent. And you should check yours for like spacing, stuff like that. If I have this in bold, you should probably make this a higher case G. Okay. So I have it in bold, right? And then I've got this right here, same thing here, and it really should all look the same. You don't want this underlined and then your conclusion is different and it's not underlined. It needs to all be the same. And I would probably also go up here and I would go format, text, capitalization, title case. Boom. Now she's ready to rock and roll. Now, one thing I've noticed is that with this outline, and she gave me permission to use this as an example, she's got her first main point and she has an A. This is her subpoint. So if you look at this textbook chapter, they're like main point, boom, and then the supporting subpoint. But remember, the textbook is telling you to put 1, 2. I'm telling you it should be A, and then you need a B, right? You don't want the A to be lonely. That's how I always remember it. You don't want your subpoint to be lonely. You want to have a B. Now, she could do a couple of different things here, and she's done it very well. She's got A, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And under 1, she has A, B, C. But look here, she's got an A and no B. So the principle here is same thing with your main points. If you have one main point, you need a second main point at bar minimum. All right. If you have a subpoint, you need a second subpoint. If you have a subpoint like this one, you need a second one, which she has, and she has a third and a fourth. If you have so this is your main point, your subpoint, your subpoint, subpoint, then you need a B here. Okay. So she could do a couple of different things. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. She could do a couple of different things here. She could, self-health care helps our bodies fight infections. And then she can say something like self-care can also keep us healthy. So, self-care helps. So I would just like, if I was working with her, I would just be like, why don't you do this? Self-care helps, our bodies stay healthy. to stay healthy. Okay, boom. Now she may even want to have this here as the first one because your immune system is important. And then if something happens to your immune system, you can fight the infection. So that's the logic, right? So now it's she's got A, B, C, A, B. She's got it here. It looks great, but she doesn't have a B. So let's take a look. She says physical and immune system. Seeing this affect me and some of my coworkers, we were constantly experiencing stress and emotional fatigue. We practiced taking at least 30 minutes of lunch when we were able to instead of skipping meals. So she's actually, her speech is all what you should be doing. She's not even going into, like, a first main point could be the harms of not having self-care, but she's actually taken a completely proactive stance, which is great. So physical and immune system, when it comes to our immune system functions, healthcare workers are exposed to illness daily. This, I would actually put this first, right? This seems logical to me, like, hey, we're all exposed to it. And then as a result of that, I'm doing this, we're doing this. I relate to the topic because more I've seen myself I've noticed changes in my immune system. See, I would probably be this, and I would probably make that last. So she could, a couple different things. This could actually be that's how I would do it. Protecting our mental, let's see, she has an A here. See, there is no B. Okay, so then what I would probably do is turn this into an A, B, C, because protecting mental and emotional health includes, I would just change it to includes, our physical and immune system. That's how I would do it. And I would probably make this pop a little bit more, go to format text, capitalization, title, case. You can do that. Now, these should all be changed. So we just go up here to the bullets and we just tell it A, B, C. So now it's a clean outline. And now we have an A. We don't want another A. We want to make them opposite. So now let's go into the numbers. Whoops. And so let's go to the drop down and see if it has, you might have to bullet this. Yep, we could just do it that way if we wanted to, if you like bullets. And quite frankly, you could change this to my first main point is, and not even have the Roman numeral, to be honest. And I'll show you an example in a moment of how we did that. Let's see if we can fix this. Let's see here. That's the problem when you set it up this way, is it's hard to start making those shifts. Because look here, it says A and then A, and that's wrong. It's Roman numeral. Here we go. Boom. But that's still a little. Let's see if we can. That kind of works. I guess that kind of works. If it was me, this is how I would do it. I would just turn these into bullets. But the other way is also fine, 0102. I don't know if there's another way we could do it. Let's look under bullets. Nope. So if it was me, I would probably take these and turn them into bullets. And I think and quite frankly, to be honest, I've given thousands of speeches in public hearings and I use bullets. I'm not thinking A, B, C, unless I'm numbering something. If I'm saying first, elevated blood number, secondly, hair loss, maybe I would do that, but I may actually type in the word first. So now we have a clean outline. We have A, B, C, D. Okay, so that's great. We don't have an A and not have a B, and then we've turned those into bullets. So let's take it to the next one. So now we're going to have to make it all the same. Because I have A and then bullets, I need to do the same thing down here. So she's got A, so now these all need to be turned into bullets. So let's click over here. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm making everything the same. I'm not sure why that got messed up, but we'll just do it like this. Let's see. Let me see if I can fix that. And you guys know this happens a lot in office hours. Let's see. Boom. Let's make a bullet. Whoops. Let me see here. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's move it all back. And let's just move this. Let's see. Can I bullet this? And that's the problem sometimes when you set it up that way. Let's see if we can fix it this way. All right, so now let's tab it. Okay, boom. Now we've got it. Now she's got an A, but she doesn't have a B. And look at so we have A up here, we have A, and then we have bullets. And that's the same thing we did here. We have A, and then we have bullets. I don't think she has any sub points. Those are the bullets. So that looks the same. And you could have two next to each other. If you got two screens, it's even better, right? But this needs to be broken down a little bit. All right. I can see why she's doing that. Every once in a while, I'll make an exception if someone uses a quote because I can see in their brain while they're doing it. When one stresses less, you are able to communicate better with your patients, be clear and professional. Great line. Being able to explain. So when one stress is less, you're able to communicate better. How about this? We just go like this. With your patients, you can be clear. Medical professionals can be clear and professional. And I would clean this up. And we are also able to explain procedures or medications. Okay, that's great. Now I would probably turn these into a bullet because now we're kind of like, see, boom. And then here, smiling more, I would just once again bullet this because your eye is going to skim this. That's why we use these outlines in my discipline. I'm very passionate, quite frankly, I think in outlines. And when I write stuff, it's all in bullets because that's how I'm trained to think. Let's see if we could fix that. And let's tab it over. Whoops, it's still giving me a hard time. So that's kind of the part of the problem when you set it up this way. I don't know if I can do that. Let's see here. Boom. I don't know. It's giving me a hard time, y'all. Let's see. Let's do it this way. But you see, and I'm glad I'm showing you this in real time because sometimes when you set up your outline, that's what's going to do. So let's do the same thing here, okay? So you're going to have to make these changes if you set up your outline while you're working. I kind of tend to do it manually, and it's much easier than for me to make these changes. Bam. Okay, so now she's got her A, and I'm going to let her. So what would you do? You're looking at this now. You're the student. You're making the first thing you want to do is make sure it looks the same here because it looks just like that. I've got an A, and then I've got some bullets. I've got an A, and then I've got some bullets, and I've got some sub-bullets. Well, here, what do I need to do? I need to turn it into a bullet, don't I? Boom. Okay. And then I need to turn these into little bullets too. And I know from oh nope, it didn't. It messed it up. So we're going to have to go back over here. And I'm hoping this helps you guys who have already set up your outline. I tend to write it and then add the bullets versus adding the bullets and writing it. That's why it makes it easier when I'm changing and I do this all the time at City Council. I change my outline in real time. What I'm doing right now, I do that in real time. So, but what is she missing? She has one bullet, but she doesn't have a second bullet because theoretically this is a 1. So she needs to add something else here. So that's really what you need to fact check. Is my outline aligned? Is everything, if I have a Roman numeral, I've got a Roman numeral. If I have an A, I need a B. And then she has one here. So what she could do is turn these all into bullets. Workers that are stressed and tired, emotionally overwhelmed can make mistakes. Oh man, this was one we would have to think about. But this is logically what she has done is absolutely spot on. The topic is when you're stressed, you make mistakes, and she's given you examples of mistakes. So risk of medical errors. I wonder if there's another subpoint we can do here. The other thing, yeah, so that's something that we would figure out in workshop is what else do we need to add here? Okay. Now let's go to the next one. She's got her Roman numeral 3. She's got her A. What does she need to do here? Because under each of these main points, what does she have? She has a bullet. So she would just turn those into bullets. So, and she's still working on it, right? So think about that when you're working on your outline. To me, a lot of times it's better just to be like, cat, dog. I have foxes in my backyard, and I have skunks, and I also have deer, and then I also have possums. Apparently, they're really good. My friends I can't even spell a possum, although they're here. I think possums have little Timexes. They come out at the exact same time every day. Possum, Possum. Possium. I think that's so here's how I do it. I would make that, and then I would go here, and then I would bullet it. And that allows me to make those changes, because now if I hit the tab key, well, I could actually change the way it looks. But you do whatever feels comfortable with you. But just the bottom line is you want all this the same, okay? So I'm still trying to think here. We've got all this. What could we do to help her out? She's got the A, she's got the B. She has this one main point, but she needs a second main point. Stressed, tired, and healthcare workers that are stressed and tired and overwhelmed can make mistakes. She could do this. Some examples include, and now she's got it right, because this is a statement, and now this is another thought. So that's how I would do it. Now, let me show you another way. And so once again, for those of you who've read the chapters and you're confused, it's completely understandable you're confused. I completely disagree with how they do this. But quite frankly, all the examples I have are aligned with what I'm teaching you. So now she's just rocking and rolling. And let's now go to this. This is something I've attached to your workshop checklist. And it came out of an office hours. Today is Saturday the 28th. Right now it's almost 3 o'clock. And this came out of my 12 to 1 office hours. I was working with a student, and I said, would you like for me to make a video? So this video is for you. And she said, yes. So I showed her this. Some people do not like Roman numerals. And quite frankly, I'm one of those people. Like, I'm not thinking, I'm not a Roman. I don't think in Roman numerals. I'm thinking my first main point is, right? So here's an example. If you're doing let's say you're doing a speech on milkshakes, how to get in shape and how to get healthy with milkshakes. I could, instead of my Roman numeral, I could just simply type out my first main point is liquid for the milkshake, or what kind of liquid would you use? So I'm using this instead of the Roman numeral. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. I'm using this instead of the Roman numeral, okay? And then for my subpoints, I would bullet them. So I would say juice, and remember, this is a sample of a keyword outline. Y'all are creating full sentence outlines, but just for purposes of looking at structure, I think this is helpful. So the first subpoint is juice. Instead of using A, you can use a bullet. Just like what we did over here. She has A, but she's got the bullets, but what we ended up doing over here was making sub-bullets. So you can do the same thing. And then you could say, well, I want to talk about different types of milk. So here are some different types of milk. So instead of the little ones, you could do the subpoint. So this is an alternative way. Instead of having a Roman numeral, some people will go, main point number 1, but you literally should write out what you're going to say. So I hope this video helps for those who are trying to think about their organizational patterns. Just remember, you always have an overarching main point. Your speech is between, if it's a topical organizational pattern or a spatial organizational pattern or a chronological organizational pattern, you're going to have between 2 and 5 main points. Each of those main points and you can either have a Roman numeral, or you can literally type out my first main point is, all right? Then here, you would have your A's. It's telling me it's 3 o'clock again. I thought it just told me it was 3 o'clock. That's weird. It's like if there was a rip in the space-time continuum during this lecture. So then you have A and B. I don't know if y'all could hear it, but my computer tells me the time. And then you've got your bullet. So remember, if you have one Roman numeral, you need a second, which makes sense. Your speech should be between 2 and 5 main points. If you have a subpoint, you need at least a second. You don't want the subpoints to get lonely either. If you have subpoints, you need to have subpoints as well. So I hope this helps you guys, and y'all's outlines are knocking it out of the park. And then last thing, final check, is you want to make sure the language is congruent. If this is indeed your first main point, I thought I unbolded that, y'all. Let me just unbold that. Okay, so I must have gotten a little carried away with the undo. And so she could actually go like this and get rid of that, quite frankly. This should be the exact language in your first main point, okay? Let's look at the second main point. Improvements in patient care, and look, I kind of messed up her formatting a little bit. All right, improvements in patient care and work safety. All right, let's take a look at what she's got. Improvements in patience. See, she's got exactly what she needs to do. And then she's just going to finish her conclusion. The conclusion, let's just talk about the conclusion. The conclusion has two elements. Now think of this. Her formatting for her introduction, and quite frankly, we don't even need that there because this is your speech. I would move all that up, quite frankly, but let's keep moving. She's got it in bold, and then she's got this. So let's do it down here. Let's go conclusion. She doesn't have it labeled introduction, which she really shouldn't. And now let's go conclusion. Okay, and then we're going to go review main ideas or main points, and then memorable closing. And then we're going to make it look just like the introduction. So if I have these underlined here, if I had that underlined, I would want to underline this here as well. Okay? You want them to look exactly the same. Let's go down here now. So what I did now, if you notice a moment ago, I copied the preview. All I'm going to do is paste it in here, and I'm going to say, in conclusion, in today's speech, I discussed the following three main points. Three main points. And you can either do this again, and I'm wondering if it's going to, let's go back here. Okay, and let's see if we can get it to, boom. Yep, it looks just like the preview now up here. Boom. See, oh, we didn't do the numbers, so we want to do the numbers. So let's go back here, and let's turn those into numbers. Boom. All right. All right. Hope this helps.